الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I hope and pray that everyone is enjoying the month of Ramadan, enjoying the ibadah and tasting the sweetness of the ibadah and the closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal and the closeness to the mu'mineen around you. I would like to share with you a very interesting story that happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ with a Sahabi called Hanzala. Hanzala one day was sitting with the Prophet ﷺ in his house in a sort of a halaqa or a gathering with the Prophet ﷺ, and you can imagine what kind of topics the Prophet ﷺ would be talking about. So Hanzala went back home radiyallahu anhu ardah, feeling so charged, so pumped up, spiritually high. And he went back home, and just like any normal person would do, he went home, sat with his wife and kids, had a meal together, probably played some time with the kids. And then when he was sitting down, he started to feel this weird feeling. And he was talking to his wife and he said, "You know what, I think I'm a hypocrite." So his wife panicked and she said, "Why are you saying this? You're one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. You're always with him, you're always in the masjid, and you're a good person. Why are you saying this?" He said, "No, I think I'm a hypocrite. Because when I sit with the Prophet ﷺ, I only think of al-akhirah, I only think of al-jannah. I'm always motivated, I'm always charged up and ready to go out and change the world. But when I leave, I lose that charge. And I go back to this dunya and to this world and the lively affairs, and I feel that I'm a different person. I think I'm a hypocrite, I am a munafiq, I'm double-faced." So he came out from the house, walking in the street, wanted to ask the Prophet ﷺ about this feeling that he had. On the way, he saw Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, and he told him, "This is how I feel, and I think I'm a hypocrite." So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, being the sensitive, soft-hearted person that he was, he said, "You know what, I think I have the same disease. I think I'm a munafiq as well, because that's exactly what I go through when I'm with the Prophet ﷺ and then after I leave him." So both of them, they went to the Prophet ﷺ. And I'm very glad that this thing happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, because if it did not, then we would have heard right and left people accusing one another of being hypocrites and of being double-faced and so on. But they went to the Prophet ﷺ, who made it very clear and easy for us to understand. They went to him and they said, "Ya Rasulullah, this is how we feel when we are with you, and this is how we feel when we leave. Are we hypocrites?" Prophet ﷺ said, "Subhanallah, you are humans. This is expected from humans. If you were to continue to be on the same level of iman like you are when you're with me, and then after you leave, if you continue to be on the same level of iman, then you would be considered as angels. And then angels would shake your hands on the streets. But it is one time that you are on a high level of iman, and then it's natural for the level of iman to come down, and then it will come up and back again after you do your salah, after you do your siyam, after you read your Quran, and then it'll probably go down and so on. And this is how iman is. So now we're in the month of Ramadan. This is a month where we're supposed to charge up our iman and take it all the way up, because we're expecting, and it's natural, it's human nature that after the month of Ramadan, our iman would drop, would go down a little bit. It is not acceptable for our iman to disappear after the month of Ramadan or to hit the rock bottom of our iman chart. It is expected that it would drop down, but to a reasonable level. In the month of Ramadan, we charge up our iman, we get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal through our salah, through our siyam, Quran, sadaqah, and so on. And then after the month of Ramadan, we are challenged to keep our iman at a reasonable level. I would like to share with you some of the things that we can do after the month of Ramadan that we need to start planning for now. If you don't plan how you want to maintain your iman after Ramadan, you're going to be taken by surprise by the shaitan, and you're going to discharge that iman on the first day of Eid. Some of the ways that we can keep our iman is for you to pick and choose the right friends. Your friends will make sure that your iman will stay within that group. If you have a group of good Muslims and Muslimas, then your iman will be sustained for a longer period of time. Your brother and your sister will be your mirror, so that when you look at them and when you talk to them, you can see your iman going down or going up. They will tell you in your face you're going off, or they will encourage you if you're doing the good. So your friends after the month of Ramadan would help you sustain your iman. And that's why it's important now in the month of Ramadan to start picking those friends that you want to keep and to start picking those friends that you want to drop. Another way that we can maintain our level of iman after the month of Ramadan is for us to practice Islam, to practice the rituals of Islam in a moderate, balanced way. There are people out of guilt, out of enthusiasm, that they go to the extreme and they start doing things in a very, very extreme fashion. And the Prophet ﷺ forbade us. He told us not to do that, because he knows that if you go to one extreme today, in few days you're gonna go to the far other extreme. So worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Do your ibadat in a moderate way, in a balanced way. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo your salah. Don't overdo your qiyam. Don't overdo your sadaqah, because you're gonna overdo it now, but after a few days or weeks or months, you're gonna get tired. And you're gonna say, you know what? I don't need all this. So for us to maintain that level of iman, to maintain that character, that Muslim character, our ibadah has to be balanced, has to be moderate, has to be according to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Lastly, one of the things that you can do after the month of Ramadan to maintain this level of iman is to learn about your deen. It is not enough to copy people. A lot of people, or some people, in the month of Ramadan, they fast because everyone in the house is fasting. They do Taraweeh because everyone is doing Taraweeh. They read Quran because there's a contest of reading Quran. They give Sadaqah because they're encouraged by the others who give in Sadaqah in Ramadan. But after the month of Ramadan, what's going to motivate them? Unless we learn our deen, unless we learn the things that we have to do, the things that we need to do, the things that are good for us to do, unless we learn, we're going to lose interest very quickly. So we're motivated by others, and we're also motivated by the knowledge that we have about our deen. Brothers and sisters, this phenomenon is called the flip-flop phenomenon, which is some people flip in the month of Ramadan to the good side, and they become, mashallah, good practicing Muslims, and then after the month of Ramadan, they flop. It's fine to flip as long as you flop, and then you expect yourself to flip again and flop, and flip and flop, and so on. It is expected for that to happen as long as we are within the boundaries of Islam, as long as we don't take forever to flop back to the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. So the month of Ramadan is a month for us to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, to charge up so that we would be ready after the month of Ramadan when we expect our iman to go less. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal that He would help us in sustaining our iman at all times, and that if our iman drops, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to wake us up immediately and very quickly, so that we would go back and charge up. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to provide us with the good company, with the good friends, with the good knowledge that would keep us close to Allah Azza wa Jal. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa israfana fi amrina wa thabbit aqdamana wa ansurna ala al-qawmi al-kafirin wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.